The Brexit soap opera continues. The British Prime Minister has succeeded in negotiating a new deal with the European Union in October, but he failed to get it validated in Westminster. So he asked for new elections, and this is the reason why the European Union postponed the deadline towards the 31st of January. Now, there are lots of uncertainties around the 12th of December elections. Of course, the Conservatives may win a sufficient majority to vote the deal in January, but it could also happen that other coalitions take place. If they were led by Labour, for example, we could very well end up with new negotiations with the European Union or even a new referendum on the matter. So there are still some risks and uncertainties around the 12th of December election in the UK and around the fact that a deal could indeed be voted upon in January. Now, voting on the deal in January would not mean that this is the end of the road. In fact, it would only open the door to the transition period. This transition period is there to allow the European Union and the United Kingdom to negotiate a free trade agreement together. The problem is that the transition period should normally end at the end of 2020, which is way too short to negotiate such an extensive trade deal. Michel Barnier indicated that it should take 2 to 3 years to negotiate such a deal. So the main risk for next year is clearly to see the UK departing from the EU in January 2021 without having had the time to negotiate an extensive free trade agreement with the EU. So we are probably contemplating an extension of the transition period. The problem is there that the negotiation around that should take place before the 30th of June of 2020, and that part of the Conservative Party in the UK is against an extension of the transition period. The reason being that if the UK stays for longer in the EU, it also has to contribute to the European budget, which is a problem for them. So there are lots of uncertainties there also around the extension of the transition period, and the main risk really is for January 2021. So on the markets, the British pound has appreciated since the summer by around 7%, simply because the risks of having a hard Brexit, so a no-deal Brexit, have receded quite extensively. Now, of course, if the new deal is voted in January, we could see a bit more appreciation, so in the beginning of the year. However, we don't expect the British pound to come back to its 2016 levels. As we saw, there are still lots of uncertainties around especially June 2020 and December 2020 that could bring back some volatility on the market. For the moment, we expect an average exchange rate in 2020 of 0.88 against the euro.